All right, let's just start here. Dak played crappy, right? He played awful. And I sent out some tweets about that, and people got very upset about my tweets, and I'm just like, but no one had an argument pro Dak. It was all whataboutism. Well, what about these other highly paid quarterbacks who also suck? Or because I tweeted out Steve, how do I pronounce his last name? Steve Palazzo? Yeah. From Pro Football Focus.
PFF_Steve.
Yeah, fair. PFF_Steve. So I wanted to amplify his tweet, which was about on the final drive, not the the last couple seconds, but the drive prior to the 2-minute warning where they needed to go the field. That's the Tom Brady drive. That's the hey, you're down a score. You got the ball like on the 20 or whatever. You got to go 80 yards. You got 2.5 minutes. Like if you're Mahomes, if you're Joe Burrow, you're Tom Brady. That's a drive you make.
Legacy drive.
Taylor Heineke even, yes, right? And Taylor Heineke did that against the Colts, right? I mean, and yet in that drive,
Colts, Niners, different defenses.
He's Taylor Heineke. He ain't making $40 million a year. He's Taylor Heineke, right? Taylor Heineke did that a couple times. All right. My point is that's sort of a career-defining drive, opportunity. And in that drive, first play should have been a pick six. Yeah. Literally, like he literally drops it, but and then the second play, I think he
misses Gallup. He has Gallup open. Gallup's got inside leverage. He throws it outside. Correct. Close. That was to win the game. It was right there.
Right. So yeah, exactly. Gallup's open and he misses Gallup, and then the third one he takes a sack.
Yeah, it wasn't a good sack either. And then here's the thing: the next drive, I think the first play of the next drive, Dak tries to take the game-ending safety, and then bounces off the guy. And,
one disaster.
It wasn't a good end game execution.
And so anyway, PFF Steve put that out there, that drive as I just described it. So I quote tweeted and I said, Dak makes $40 million a year, and everyone got very upset at me. Not everyone. I mean, it got a lot more likes than it got comments.
They said you were pocket watching.
No, they did. Yeah, a little bit, I guess. They were like, why are you up in his bag and all this stuff, and like, why are you killing? Why does it matter what that person makes?
Well, matters a lot in the NFL.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, people were like, what about Kirk Cousins makes a lot of money? I'm like, so your defense of Dak Prescott is like, right. It's like, what about Matt Ryan? He makes a lot of money. Your Commanders paid Carson Wentz $28 million. I'm like, yeah, and he sucks. Like, that was a mistake by the Commanders. Like,
people were really fired up about this. People were tweeting at me about you tweeting about Dak. Where they
what were
like,
they
were saying, get your boy Barry in line. I'm like, why is he my boy? Why is he my responsibility? He can tweet. He's an adult. He can tweet what he wants about Dak Prescott.
Connor or Lawrence.
No, don't leave me. No, I'm good. Let that.
We lay low.
You that guy.
Absolutely.
Mediator.
I just
right. You and Dak Prescott and Twitter.
But I stand by it. Like, by the way, and when I tweeted it, there are times when I tweet stuff when I'm like, this is a little controversy. This is a little first takey. This is a little hot takey. Kind of. There are times when I'll tweet something and I know that this one's going to rile people up. That one was not trying to rile people up. That one was not I'm poking the bear kind of thing. I'm like, he's one of the highest. I get it. Quarterback contracts are out of control. Right, I get it, but he's in a world in which every quarterback is highly paid. He is one of the highest paid, and he is paid that kind of money to be a franchise quarterback, to be a guy that says, "Get on my back. I am leading this team to victory." And in a chance when he had an opportunity to do so, he performed awfully. And I get it. On the road at San Francisco, it's a very good defense, but that's why you're paid that money.
Best one.
That's right. I mean, that's why you're paid that money is to make those plays. And he was bad. I mean, a red zone interception. Like, he had 2 picks. He should have had more. Like, he was bad, guys.
Yeah, and I think that people are bringing up, it's the 49ers defense, you throw it out. Like, no, his bad plays were like defense independent. And maybe he's feeling the pressure because Bosa's on him all the time. But at the same time, like, he misses Gallup. Gallup's wide open. The near pick 6 to win the game, that was just a terrible throw. The pick that he throws in the red zone, that's a terrible throw. Could have made these plays against Carolina. It doesn't matter.
This was the 7th straight divisional round loss for the Cowboys. That is an NFL record. Obviously, a lot of doom and gloom.
Record. Cowboys,
the Cowboys. Not the record you want.
How about them Cowboys?
We did hear from Dak after the game.
As I said, I mean, guys that played their asses off, defense who gave us an opportunity to win this game, who played hard against a really, really good offense, a really good team, and for us to only put up the points that we did, that's unacceptable, and it starts with me. 2 tonight, as I said, unacceptable. I can't put the ball in in jeopardy like that, whether they're tipped up in tight throws or whether I'm late on a stop route, just can't happen. And the number that has gotten to is ridiculous. And I can promise that the number will never be this again. I can promise that.
So I do. So that was the voice of Dak Prescott at his press conference, as Connor just says, and you're sitting here watching the picks right there. Like, that's just a bad throw. No one's. And here's the red zone interception as well. Just listen. I mean, like, it's a bad one. It's a bad one. He threw it in a double coverage. It gets tipped up, right? And then, I mean, you just,
pick
Ward
twice.
makes,
I really shouldn't pick the first time.
Yeah. Ward makes a great play, but I will give Dak credit here, which is like Dak stood up in front of the press, took all responsibility, answered all questions. Like, I admire that. Like, completely owned it. So, like, if I'm sitting here complaining about his play, I want to give the man props of just like standing up and being a man and like taking responsibility and owning that. His QBR in this game was 51.5. Brock Purdy's was 53.1. Again, neither guy played great. The difference there is that one guy.
That's it.
Well, right, turnovers, and Purdy got lucky too. Let's be clear. I mean, Purdy definitely easily could have had multiple turnovers here too. My point merely is that one guy's a day 3 rookie making his 7th start ever, and one guy is one of the highest paid quarterbacks in the NFL.
Prescott's best play of the game as well, the 50-yarder or so to CD Lamb, was like really badly underthrown.
CD just made a play.
Yeah, exactly.
Despite the interference
Tough
as
day
well.
for that. I mean, Dak's got a 100% approval rating, and by all accounts, he's an outstanding guy. I think that's why he copped it on Twitter, because everyone loves Dak Prescott, and so they should. He just had a bad game.
Yeah.
And the spotlight's just different when you are the quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys. This is what comes with the job. So
and that's what comes with a job. That's what comes with a big contract. That comes with when you're doing, direct TV commercials and sleep number commercials. And
Those sleep number commercials are great, by the way. I love them. He just looks so comfortable sleeping on them pillows. Go ahead.
Well, he inspired a lot of memes.
Yeah, I bet that's especially
they
after
changed the sleep number to his QBR rating, that's the new sleep anyway.
Campbell soup too. He
does
too.
Campbell soup, right?
Yeah.
But this is bad, right? We know more about his what brands he pitches than his great playoff performances. That's what we remember about Dak Prescott.
It's going to be a long off season for the Cowboys as a whole.
It will absolutely be probably Ezekiel Elliott's last game, although it's interesting as we move to the last thing on Dak Prescott, right? I mean, again, 6 different games with multiple interceptions this season, including the playoffs. He led the NFL in interceptions despite missing, I think he missed 5 games.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Like, that's a bad stat. Like, I'm no genius, but that feels bad.
13 games, 17 interceptions, including playoffs.
And Lawrence, like you said, the difference in this game as we transition to what Brock Purdy did, and as he moves to 7-0 as the starter for the 49ers, was really the turnovers. And yes, there's absolutely luck involved, and absolutely the skill talent in that Niners offense can elevate Purdy more than maybe any other quarterback left in this thing right now. But once again, he played clean enough football, and they lean on their defense when they have to. Yeah,
and again, look, we talk about the turnovers for Dak, right? They lost this game by a score, so Dak didn't even have to. He didn't have to play great. Hell, he probably didn't even have to play good. If he just played average, they might win the game, you know. So, and then again, you just talked about that. Look, if Brock Purdy could make that throw right there every once in a while, they'll be okay because they have that defense to lean on. Deebo Samuel and Christian McCaffrey was pretty much, they was bottled up, you know. So it just came down to the big plays, the turnovers.
Right. I mean, listen, Dak acknowledged that in his press conference. He's like, they held him to 19 points. Like, you should be able to generate 3 touchdowns of offense. Yep. When you have, do the 49ers have more playmakers than the Cowboys? Yes, but not a lot.
Yeah.
And I get it. The Tony Pollard injury is bad, and we'll talk about that in a second. And so you lose one of your big playmakers. That's also tough. But come on. I mean, again, Niners are out there with a 3rd-string quarterback.
Yep. The Cowboys' defense last 5 weeks of the season was a bottom 5 pass defense. They played out of their minds yesterday against Purdy. And Purdy, I mean, he was okay and he made those big third down throws, but he wasn't great. And also, has Brock Purdy ever given up on a play? Never seen that man throw the ball away. He runs sometimes literally in circles. He runs around. And he's going to, I think he's going to struggle against Philadelphia.
But to your point, Chris McCaffrey, 10 for 35. They held him to 3.5 yards per carry. Did that math in my head, no big deal. At
No, you didn't. It's on the
6 for
screen.
6 for 22. I can divide 35 by 10.
Okay.
Thank
He's
you
like,
very much,
I
Jake
hope it's
Croucher.
10 carries because that's the easiest number.
Right, and then 6 for 22. In the receiving game, 3.7 yards per reception.
That doesn't seem like a self-made
that was on the
joke.
screen. That was on the screen. But I just, right. The defense, they didn't lose that game because of the defense. The Cowboys' defense showed up.
Yep.
And so, anyway, Dak we'll have all offseason to talk about Dak next year. But this was him as a fantasy prospect is really interesting next year because he's not running as much. I mean, he ran a little bit in this one, 4 for 22. He, had a couple of scrambles, but still, he's not running as much, and it's not as high octane an offense. And we talked about this as part of the preview. On some level, this is a failure of the front office, right? I mean, because they made the calculation that they could let Amari Cooper go, that they thought they would get, and that was a mistake, obviously, based on what we saw Cooper do this year and what we saw in the passing game. There's only so much my guy Aites, CeeDee Lamb, for the podcast friend of me.
Begging you.
It's only so much my guy Aites can do, right? I mean, T.Y. Hilton was getting significant. T.Y. Hilton, who's on his couch 2 months ago, getting significant snaps, right? Because just they weren't getting what they needed to out of Michael Gallup and whatever. Noah Brown's had a moment here too, but
Yeah. The one bright spot for them, well, bright-ish, and I tweeted about this last night, but we need to have more kickers with the yips, because that was absolutely incredible viewing. Every time that it looked like they might attempt a field goal, it was the most exciting thing of the entire weekend. And then Brett Maher slots it from, 43, makes the 25-yarder, has the extra point blocked, which I think, if you look at the camera, I think it was missing the extra point.
It was going wide, yeah.
Unbelievable.
I think he's happy that one got blocked. I'm happy for him that one. I couldn't see dude just miss another extra point.
There were some books that put out a prop on will Brett Maher miss an extra point.
Plus 400.
Plus 400. It's that
good
cash.
money.
It's amazing. I know everyone is dunking on Brett, and it's weird for me to say as I just dunked all over Dak, but I felt bad for Maher. Actually, I've actually felt bad for him.
And he had a great season. So for
season.
everybody to be watching you at your lowest moment, pretty tough. But hey, all the attention's away from him now because it's all on Dak
1000%.
Prescott.
No, listen, everyone watching you at your lowest moment, I understand that, right? I mean, I made a career of that. I mean, people are doing that right now. Anytime I'm on TV is pretty much my lowest moment. So people watching me, I get it. I get having your lowest moment in front of an audience because that's been the last 15 years of my life. But I felt for the kid. That was a tough one. But enough. Let's talk Tony Pollard, I guess,
Yes.
and we should move on to the Niners.
So obviously Pollard leaves the game with what was deemed as that high ankle sprain, but it's a broken leg. They're not playing anymore, but this is a 3-month recovery minimum here, guys. And the bigger news is Pollard is entering unrestricted free agency.
Yeah, brutal.
And this is going to be a situation, especially in the fantasy community, where everybody has their eyes, Lawrence, on where he'll land, what kind of impact he could have next year if he's in a backfield where he's deemed as the guy, whether that's Dallas without Zeke or whether that's somewhere else.
Yeah, Dallas better be trying to make sure they land with him because it seems as though, Matthew, you alluded to it earlier, that we may have seen Ezekiel Elliott in his last game as a Cowboy, and what a way to go out playing center for them.
And getting bulldozed into the dirt.
Center
I don't think he
got
thought
lit
the
up.
dude was going to do that. I thought it was like, hey, man, you chill, I chill. He was like, oh, shit. Like, what's going on here? And then, Dak get the receiver killed, too. But, yeah, when Tony Pollard went
Oh, God.
when Pollard went out, it was like it was like, ah, man, because we know CeeDee Lamb, that's their guy on offense, bar none, right? But the other guy is Tony Pollard, and then after that, it's like, well, where we gonna get some production from? So, I mean, I don't know if Dak Prescott was just thinking about Tony Pollard or whatever, but yeah, they have it out on Zeke's contract, which, I mean, I think they want to be out on that. I think he's the highest paid running back in the league, him or CMC. You got Tony Pollard here as a free agent, so it's going to get interesting even more so with this injury. Because, 3 months from now, what's that? Is that combine time, a little after the middle of the summer?
Right for OTAs, coming right up on OTAs, I would think.
Yeah, so you got
and does he have the explosiveness after this injury? Yeah. Does that come back?
Yeah, definitely had to take your time with this. Now that we know it's a broken leg, they said it was a sprained ankle. I don't know how that's two different things. We're thinking people are talking about, he got the same injury as Patrick Mahomes. Then after the game, what? Bro, what? Patrick Mahomes was playing. This dude is out with the towel on his head, and you know that ain't good. But you feel for the guy. He's going to be a very wanted man regardless.
You feel for the guy just because he had a breakout season. He had the season that you'd want going into free agency, proving that, hey, I can carry the load. I can be a true workhorse back. I can be an explosive difference maker. And then to suffer a serious injury on national television in your last game, you feel for the kid. My expectation is he'll be back with the Cowboys. We'll see, but this certainly lowers his. I think lowers the market. Hard to know what the market for running backs these days is, just because so many people have proven that you can get production out of late round rookies and just guys, right? I mean, whatever.
Yeah.
The Deontay Foremans of the world, right? Yeah. And so, anyway, but you feel for Tony Pollard. My expectation is, though, you saw what happened with Gallup. Same thing. Gallup coming off of an injury, but still the Cowboys brought him back. They're pretty loyal. I think sometimes probably loyal to a fault, but as an organization, they're pretty loyal. Jerry Jones, no, Mike McCarthy's our guy.
Yeah, Jerry is loyal.
He didn't have to say that right after the game, but he felt the need to.
He felt the need to.
And even Dak's quote on Pollard after the game was an indictment on what Pollard means to this offense. Dak said it hurt us. We weren't able to create as many explosive plays as we planned, and I'm sure he would have been a big part of some of those had he had not gotten hurt. Pollard's explosive play rate, guys, per attempt was at the top of the league. So that's a huge impact on the Cowboys' offense next year if they don't retain him, and we'll see where that goes.
I feel like the Cowboys need to trade for Amari Cooper. I feel like he'd really
Is that a good idea?
That might help. Do you think it's a given 100% that Zeke won't be back? Reduced salary type thing.
I don't think it's a given he won't be back. Because, again, Jerry's really loyal, loves Zeke. They look at things differently, or Mike McCarthy looks at things differently than I think some other people would. So I think some organizations would look at Zeke and say he's not super efficient and he's very volume-based, and obviously there's a lot of mileage there. I think Mike McCarthy might be like, he running back, he good. And so Mike McCarthy's not exactly the biggest analytics guy out there. And so, yes, the fact is basically that this is I think, I'm not a contract guy. This is much more Mike Florio's world. But my understanding is that there's no more guaranteed money for Zach. Could they restructure the contract and keep him in Dallas? Sure. And they may want to, again, given the Pollard injury and given that, and Zeke's, been such a, foundational member of that franchise for so long. I can't imagine there's going to be a big market for Zeke. So
it'd be weird to see him somewhere else.
It may make more sense for Ezekiel Elliott to be like, look, I'm going to have to take less money somewhere.
Right.
So why don't I take less money and stay in Dallas then, assuming they want him back? And so, no, but I don't think there's a let me put it this way. I don't think Zeke is back if Zeke's not willing to renegotiate his deal.
That's
what I would say. If Zeke's no, this is my deal, then I think, as we saw with Amari Cooper, the Cowboys have no problem letting go of long-tenured players in their team.
Yeah, they have a lot to figure out. Schultz is on the franchise tag. There's a lot of different moves.
Another big one.
Yeah, that Dallas will need to figure out. And
he's somebody who did show up in the postseason.
Absolutely. So we'll be on top of that. Guys, the other game yesterday, the Bengals flat out felt like they dominated.
Hang on, wait, hang on. I feel like all we did was crap all over the Cowboys. We should give some love to the Niners. We should talk a little bit.
Okay.
We did nothing. We talked
about Brock Purdy.
Niners.
We talked about
else really happened on the Niners.
I know, it's
side.
true.
That was maybe the biggest play of the game, which was not a great throw, but an incredible catch. Kittle's bobbling catch. And, they were when they decided to become the downhill 49ers in the second half is when the game changed. They became a downhill running team, as we're going to show here, and their ability to work off play action. That's when Kyle Shanahan is at his best, and that's led by that offensive line with Trent Williams and some younger players in the middle, and then the veteran McGlinchey on the right side. So that was the story of this game to me, guys. When the Niners remember who they are, a downhill running, play action rollout team, they controlled the game in the second half.
Yeah, and these guys didn't have big numbers, but still, like, Ayuk comes up with a huge third down play. Kittle goes 5 for 95. McCaffrey gets the touchdown. He also has the huge catch on third down to keep things moving. Oh, yeah, and then there's Deebo Samuel also just hanging around. So, look, it was a weird game for the Niners offense. They didn't have much of a rhythm, but they did convert all those third downs. Apparently, Dan Quinn didn't realize they're just going to throw slants over the middle every single third down play late. They didn't catch on to that, having Anthony Barr out there defending wide receivers. But we were talking about this beforehand. Like, who would have won Super Bowl MVP for the Niners yesterday? Would have been like Fred Warner. Fred Warner would have won because the offense just did so little. So they've just got so much talent across the board.
I mean, maybe Kittle.
If they forced an offensive player.
Warner had a pick and led the game in tackles on the 49ers side.
Just one note I want to make about Purdy, which is a great story. Like, I mean, the fact that Kyle Shanahan's in the NFC Championship game with a 7th-round rookie quarterback is nothing short of phenomenal, and a credit to both Kyle and John Lynch. Give the entire front office credit for surrounding Purdy with so much talent. They've done really well in the draft and in free agency, but I just thought this was interesting. When Brock Purdy faced pressure yesterday, just 3 of 11, took 3 sacks, just 3 of 11 for 24 yards, and he took 3 sacks. And so now they've got to go to Philadelphia, a team that had 75 sacks this season, 3rd most in the NFL, that really brings pressure in a big way, and they're going to be looking at that tape and they know. And so that one's going to be really interesting game.
I think that's a game, and the Eagles are 2.5-point favorites, trending towards 3-point favorites on BetMGM, home to the Niners. And look, I think that's a game where you'd love to be able to just see the first 3 plays and just see if they're beating the Niners O-line. Because if Purdy's under pressure every snap, then they're just going to lose. Like, he's not going to win if he's under pressure all the time. It's going to be on the Niners O-line to win that game.
Absolutely. All right, you want to move on? Or
Yeah.
We could talk about Elijah Mitchell if you want.
No, that's fine. Now we can move on.
All right, so the Bengals take care of business.
Did I mention Dak
up in Buffalo? Dak played poorly. McCarthy's back. Commanders fans rejoice.
Right.
And how about Zach Taylor handing out game balls at the local bar in Cincinnati? You got to love a man of the people. Right, Barry? That's what some people call you.
I am a man.
You and Zach Taylor, man of the people.
You know what? I mean, that's amazing.
Trevor Lawrence as well.
No, we'll talk about this, but like I ran into some Jacksonville fans when I went to Kansas City, and they were like, "Hey, man, you got to come to after the Jags win, you're coming with us to the Waffle House on like March Street or something." And I'm like, you know what, guys? Tell you what, if the Jags win, I will meet you at the Waffle House. And I was going to do it.
It's one problem.
The Jags didn't win.
One little problem.
Yeah. Well,
that's why you agreed.
1,000%.
Yeah, long shot.
Well, please, that's whatever. But yes, I'm a man of the people. I would have done that. Good for Zach Taylor. Going out, giving out game balls at a local. Was that bar? That bar wasn't in Cincinnati. Was that bar?
No, I believe it was. Yeah, he got back and went right to the bar.
Right to the bar?
He actually sat on the
He really a man in the people.
Yeah. He sat on the plane with the football in his lap.
Straight to the bar with football.
Yep.
Right, exactly.
And I don't think that's the first time he's done this as well. So it's kind of his thing.
It's working.
Nick Sirianni looks at the camera and yells. Zach Taylor goes back to the local bar. Everybody's got their thing as a coach right here.
Yeah, exactly.
Whatever worked. Nick Sirianni,
Yeah,
by the way. Nick Sirianni was the MVP of that game, which we'll get to.
We will get to that.
He was great.
And speaking of doing their thing, Joe Burrow now, guys, is 5-1 in the career in the playoffs at this point. We saw him run through the college football world a couple years ago, goes to the NFL, comes back from the injury, and just seems to get it done in every big game, Lawrence. I mean, this guy is ice cold. And for a game they were 5-point underdogs, the Bengals were in control almost right out of the gate.
Immediately.
Yeah.
There you go. Jamar Chase, of all people, wide ass open. And like this weather right here.
Everyone was.
There you go.
Yeah.
Hayden Hurst again. But that play right there was caused by the defense collapsing towards Jamar Chase. But man, look at the weather. It don't matter. Just like Zach Taylor said, it don't matter the snow, where we play, who we play. We just dogs, man. We just do it, and that's what Joe Burrow is. And Joe Burrow is putting himself right there, and has a chance to, it's gonna be a conversation going on depending on how this game goes. Now Patrick Mahomes is hurt, but 2 straight years in the AFC Championship for the Bengals, like Joe Burrow, Like, hey, Mahomes, he looking at him.
Yeah.
Mahomes still that guy, but he looking at him.
Yeah, just a weird game. Obviously, catastrophe on every level for the Bills. I mean, the Bengals just put them in a clown suit. It was uncomfortable to watch the Bills just unravel their season. And to me, the biggest surprise was that the Bengals were able to run the ball. Bengals haven't been able to run the ball. They're missing 60% of their offensive line.
Yes,
Couldn't
exactly.
do anything against Baltimore the past 2 weeks. And then Joe Mixon looks like he's going up against the Carolina defense when he gets 5 touchdowns on them. Even in the second half, where they know that Cincinnati is running, they cannot stop them. And then Burrow did whatever he wanted through the air. A lot of short stuff. Burrow missed the wide open touchdown pass as well. It could have been a lot worse.
Bengals offensive line was the star of that game, and a game in which there were a lot of stars. To your point, they came in banged up, and they just dominated. They dominated the line of scrimmage. Mixon had a huge game, 20 for 105. He played 56% of snaps. This was interesting, right? Samaje Perine also played a lot of snaps, also ran a lot of routes. Mixon has the big game as well, gets into the end zone, caught a couple of balls as well. As you see it there on your screen, that 105 rushing yards is just his second 100-yard game this entire season. But when it mattered the most, that's when it happened. And so, listen, just a dominating performance by Cincinnati. And as much as we want to dump on Dallas, and I do enjoy that as a Commanders fan, Buffalo should also be embarrassed by this.
Okay, yeah, you're right.
Cowboys lost to a better team. The
Super Bowl
Bills were
favorites.
5 to 6 point favorites
Bingo.
in this game.
And
it's just a mess.
And that brings me to this, right? Dak makes $40 million a year, but we don't consider Dak as a top 3 to 5 quarterback in the league. Dak wasn't at home. Dak wasn't the favorite to win. His team wasn't the favorite to win. Josh Allen needs some of this smoke too. Like, he needs some of this same smoke that Dak should be getting. Second postseason game with 0 touchdown passes. Second fewest passing yards in a postseason game. We're looking at no touchdown passes or interceptions. He only had 26 rushing yards on the ground. We always say, can this team go to Buffalo and play in the cold? Hell, can Josh Allen and them play in the cold?
Yeah, the Bills can't. They look like a Big 12 team, the way they're constructed. Pushed around. They want to be a finesse team in terms of how they spread the field and are so reliant on Stephon Diggs. And I think there's awareness of that. I mean, we heard from Josh Allen after the game, and he was very honest about this loss and the disappointment.
Yeah, playing from behind is never fun. But we had our opportunity to make it a one-score game before half, and didn't take advantage of that. Didn't score a touchdown, that first drive in the second half. We only got 3. And against teams like this, with a quarterback like that, you're gonna have to score 6 and 7. So we didn't do a good enough job of that tonight. Again, disappointment. You play to win. Our goal is to win a Super Bowl, a World Championship, and we didn't accomplish that. So everything that happened this season is kind of null and void in our minds, and it sucks.
Guys, their goal was to win the Super Bowl, and so was a lot of people betting on who was going to win the Super Bowl. Per BetMGM, the highest ticket percentage of Super Bowl winning tickets, the Bills, 12.4% of the market. The highest handle, the Bills, 16.1% of the market. A lot of people rode the favorite in Buffalo, and it didn't work out for them, Jay.
It felt like their season from night one when they destroyed the Rams at SoFi. It just felt like it was going to be their year. Then they destroy the Titans the next week. And then at some point, it just fell apart. And look, I think that Von Miller going down, Micah Hyde going down, DeMar Hamlin not playing, that all hurt them on defense. And then also on offense, I don't think Josh Allen gets enough help. And I know that he didn't play well, but the offense seems to just devolve into, Josh, put your cape on. Can you just do Superman stuff? Where's the scheme stuff? Like, Cincinnati came in with a plan on offense. They were going to run the ball. They were going to get the short stuff, and they just dominated them. And meanwhile, the Bills, it's like, all right, let's throw some YOLO balls down to Gabe Davis, and then Josh, do some stuff.
I mean, honestly, like, to your point, right? Okay, so Stephon Diggs aside, we can talk about him in a second, but outside of Stephon Diggs, right? So you have Gabe Davis, who's been, at best, inconsistent this year. I know everyone's on big game Gabe and all that, but he's been inconsistent all year long, and he was inconsistent in this game as well. So then you've got, Cole Beasley, who was a free agent, who had retired, literally retired this year, and now he's out there, getting snaps. They've got the rookie in Shakir. They lost Jamison Crowder in the preseason, basically, right? Isaiah McKenzie, more of a special teamer at this point in his career. Like, they don't have a lot. Dawson Knox, okay. The run game hasn't been dominant. At least, that's the thing. Like, You see flashes from James Cook, but, Devin Singletary's okay. They don't have as good a run game as a Joe Mixon, as, any of the 49ers. Like, honestly, as good as
free agents too.
Right.
A lot of guys.
So it's just, I agree with you. I mean, it is, they trade, the big trade was for Nyheim Hines. I don't know. I'm with you. I don't think, I got that when I was criticizing Dak Prescott on Twitter. That was also some of the things like, why are you not saying anything to Josh Allen?
I would say that was fair. He's a better quarterback.
He is a better quarterback, and I agree with you. More often than not, Josh Allen has put that team on his back and said, I'm just going to go do Superman stuff, and we're going to find a way to win. And he wasn't able to do that against the Bengals, but we haven't seen that from Dak. We haven't seen, I guess I give more of a pass to Josh Allen just because I feel like we've seen that, and I feel like he has more weapons around him. But there's no question, Josh Allen did not play well. And credit the Cincinnati Bengals, who everyone's sort of like, it's going to be Bills and Bills and Chiefs.
They had something to say.
Bengals were like, we have something to say. Hey, it's Matthew Berry from NBC Sports and RotoWorld.com. Just want to thank you so much for watching what you just watched, or at least being too lazy to click out of it after the autoplay just kept it going. So either way, thank you so much for just letting it scroll by your screen. And now I'd like to ask you respectfully, please subscribe to the NFL on NBC YouTube channel for the latest NFL news, fantasy headlines from RotoWorld, and betting analysis from NBC Sports Edge.